says the title is invalid. Fabulous. I'm going to assume that's the and symbol. Save changes. Nope. The ampersand hasn't changed it. Rosendo, do you think you could work on that in the background for me? If we've got anyone on YouTube, let us know where you are tuning in from. Let's have a look. Yeah, currently there's no viewers, so I think most of our hackers tune in via Twitch. So once that's up and running, it still says it's invalid. No problem. Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can all hear and see me well. I'm very excited to introduce you to our Ford workshop today. So joining me, we have Klisa and Kendall, who I will bring on now. So everyone can say hello in the comments wherever you are, Twitch or YouTube. So yeah, we have, as I said, Klisa and Kendall from Ford Motor Company here with us today to talk to you about all things tech in the automotive industry. Klisa is a product manager at Ford and Kendall is an IT Ford College graduate. So very excited to hear from them today. They're going to have a sort of chat you through sort of who they are, what they're doing. And then I believe there's going to be a chance for you all to ask some questions as well. So I'm going to disappear off the screen and hand you all over to the wonderful Klisa and Kendall.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Amy. Hello, everyone. So I will bring up a slide shortly. I put together just a little bit of background about myself and what I'm doing here as my first year as an FCG. And then, Kendall, did you just want to introduce yourself really quick and then we can go in with our slides?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Kendall. I'm also in FCG. I'm working as a data analyst right now, and I'll get more into that later once I kind of go through my background. So
Perfect.
excited to be here with y'all.
Yes. Okay, so let me just okay. So a little bit of background about myself. I graduated from the University of Michigan in Dearborn, April of 2020, so last year, with Bachelor's of Science in Software Engineering. Currently, I am a first year FCG. I will talk and mention the Ford College Graduate Program in a little. What I'm currently doing is a Playbook and Expedition Services Manager. I'm also part of the Ford Talent Ambassador team, as well as I'm a member of the Women of Ford. And last year I contributed and I was in the International Women's Day Planning Committee. A little bit about my role and what I do as a Playbook and Expedition Services Manager. Within the Information Technology Organization, we have the Transformation Office, which is responsible for providing basically guidance and a roadmap for the organizational structures of certain information technology organization into the product driven organization. And what this product driven organization going more into the agile methodology, uh, kind of moving away from the waterfall methodology, if talking in those methodology terms. Also, within the transformation office, there's a couple of tools that we as a team have created and are responsible for. So, different teams within the IT organizations, what they would do is they would request our service, and then my teammate and I will look into the service requests that we've gotten, and we request the people that have requested our services to set up some time with us, walk through the tools that we have to make this um, organizational restructure journey go smoothly and easier for the teams that are transferring into this product driven organization mindset. Other than that, what I also do is I host Fridays, we host these transformation service office hours where different teams, different level of, so it could be management or product teams, integration teams. What they do is they would come in and ask any questions that they might have, depending on what uh, level of base camp, or depending on what level they want to achieve at the end, because it all depends on different teams. Some teams want to reach, let's say, a level 2 maturity. Other teams want to have have a mindset and a target level at 3 or 4. Other things that I've done within my role is that I've created new training videos for these teams. And within my team, there's also um, we work on these learning pathways, and the Grid is a platform where there's different learning pathways that teams are able to go in, different individuals, and take a look at what we've worked on and use it as the learning tool for themselves and the teams. And then recently, I volunteered. There's a lot of opportunities even within the ITFCG program. Um, it is a 3-year rotational program. So I should have started from that in the beginning, but I just went off to the role that I'm currently doing. I joined Ford Motor Company September of 2021, or of last year, 2020. And as throughout my first year, this is the position that I have, which is the Playbook and Expedition Services Manager. And every year, the first year might be a little longer than 12 months, depending on your start date. So, for example, because I've started September of 2020, my rotation is a little bit over a year. So, I will rotate next this coming January. And within these rotations, we have the ability, there's a carousel that we go and upload 8 of our preferences. And then based on our preference, we because there's hundreds of positions that are available to us as IT FCGs. So they vary from product manager to a software engineer to a product designer. And within each role, you have the ability to talk to the supervisors within the FCG community. One of the committees, which is the carousel, they host different fairs where supervisors will come in and talk about their roles, as well as different committees. They host these different events that you're able to talk to the supervisors as well as the previous FCGs that have already been in this role. So right now, October, November is a time where even Kendall, I'm sure she will touch a little bit also. We're in that period of time where we're networking, we're talking to a lot of different supervisors and previous FCGs that have been in the roles that we're interested in are rotating the next year. And there's a lot of opportunities as an FCG. So coming out of college last year, I was always involved in different organizations, whether it was something that had to do with my professional or personal journey within University of Michigan Dearborn. So I was part of a lot of organizations, and I founded an organization. And so coming into Ford, I wanted to have that. I didn't just want to do my work and kind of like log off for the day. I wanted to network and contribute, especially within the FCG community, because I am also a Ford College graduate. So what I did right away, like I talked about and mentioned a little bit, there's different committees that we have. And I first joined the onboarding committee. The onboarding committee, they what we do is we onboard FCGs. So incoming FCGs, that's the whole purpose of the onboarding committee. And then later on, I found out the offboarding committee. So I was mostly involved on that. What we do is for third year FCGs, once you're on your third year, that's when you start thinking of either rolling off. It is a possibility to roll off your third rotation, depending on, you have to talk to the supervisor, consider like your supervisor has to see if there is a position open after you roll off, or there's also opportunities to look at other positions and apply for those positions. And what we do as the offboarding committees, we make sure that the offboarding for third year for college graduate goes smoothly. So we host different events from career fairs to, we also have a graduation at the end of the year. We have different interview tips and tricks event that we host. So it's really a good opportunity and experience to not only contribute, but also for myself to see how things work. And it's definitely helped me out. It's only been one year and a month since I joined Ford Motor Company as an FCG, and it's really been a great journey thus far. And I'm gonna stop talking here. Kendall, if you wanna talk, or let's see, I haven't really looked at the
Sure.
chat.
Yeah, I think I can chat for a little bit about my role and my experience, and then feel free if anyone has questions, just throw those in the chat, and we'll definitely make sure there's time to answer those. Or even if there's questions for me, I can answer them as I go. So,
Yes.
yeah, so a little bit about me. Thanks again, guys, for having us today. I am also an IT FCG. I can talk a little bit about my journey to Ford and what kind of I did before I got here, and then I can talk about my experience here. So I guess I'll start with I got my undergraduate from the University of Michigan in data analysis. So I graduated last spring in May of 2020. And while I was pursuing that undergraduate, I interned for a year and a half with a tier one automotive supplier, also in their IT department. So I did a lot of agile coaching and design thinking workshops, things like that with them. And then I came to join Ford and the ITFCG program. The FCG program really stood out to me as having a lot of really unique opportunities for growth, especially in your early career. So that was something that stood out to me and made me want to come to Ford. Um, so since joining Ford, I'm also now pursuing my master's in applied data science, again through the University of Michigan. Go Blue for anyone maybe tuning in from U of M as well or connections to U of M. Anyways, so yeah, I started as an ITFCG in September, same as Klisa. I also joined some committees as part of the program. I met Klisa as part of the offboarding committee. And now we just found out we're on the council together for FCGs over the next year. So that's really exciting. We've both gotten pretty involved. I also got involved with the media committee, which Klisa didn't mention much about. And so I will expand on that. I won't expand more on offboarding, but basically the media committee is kind of in charge of all things communications with the ITFCG program and making sure that we're all feeling connected and that we can sending out meeting invites, things like that, making sure kind of from a back end standpoint that everything runs smoothly. But we also put out a magazine every month, which is my favorite part. I think that's so fun. With different like things, we will spotlight different FCGs and we will get leadership involved and have them like give us advice and put that in the magazine. Or if FCGs are working on a cool project, we'll put that in our magazine. And we call it the Megabyte because we are all IT people, and it's kind of our fun little name for it. But yeah, that's another thing that I've gotten involved with since I've been here at Ford. Kind of transitioning a little bit more into my role in my first rotation, since this is also my first year at Ford. I've been in here for a little over a year in this role, and I will also be rotating at the end of the year. But my first rotation was in IT operations. So specifically in the cloud service area. So all the teams that run anything that's in the cloud at Ford, that's kind of my area. They're in charge of making sure all the cloud services are up and running and that they're supporting the apps they need to support and things like that. But I've kind of had a unique role in this area because I've been a data analyst, and there's not actually too many data analysts in the area. So it's been really fun to kind of explore all this data. They haven't really had too much data insights before. So it's been cool to kind of build and explore out the metric space in cloud. So a couple things specifically that I worked on. Um, I have done a lot of analysis on how app teams are using cloud resources. So we have tons and tons, thousands of applications at Ford supporting both internal and external processes. And I've done a lot of analysis on whether they're using cloud resources, if they're using on prem resources, is there a use case for them to move to cloud, and things like that. And a lot of times there's not. I mean, sometimes it makes sense that apps need to stay on prem, but it's it's definitely interesting to see, how can apps modernize and move to those cloud services, and how can we make them better. So I've done a lot of analysis there with the different um, resources that are being used and all the app teams and things like that. I've also done some analysis in terms of requests and incidents that come through these service teams. So like I said, I'm working in the cloud space, and so they're always supporting those cloud services, and I've been kind of tracking what those incident patterns and request patterns look like from business customers, people who might have an issue with one of the cloud services or something, And also kind of on a similar note to that, kind of tracking how the impact of all the cloud automation that's happening. There's a ton of automation projects happening in this space, and I've been kind of doing some dual analysis on if that cloud automation is also impacting, the service teams and helping them. Because we can automate things, then maybe it's less likely to go down, and we're less likely to have issues. So the goal with automation is to kind of see that maybe there would be less of those incidents and requests that come through the service teams and make their job a little bit easier. So that's been a cool part of my job. More recently, I've also been developing metrics kind of around what value our new cloud relationship with Google brings. So, for those who don't know much about this new relationship, Ford recently partnered with Google for both in-vehicle experience things, but also to use their cloud service or their cloud platform as our main cloud provider. So I have actually really had an opportunity to kind of shape what kind of metrics we're going to be reporting and what stories we want to tell with those metrics in the GCP space, because there's like it's brand new to everyone. Nobody here is the expert. So that's been a really cool opportunity in the past few months since that partnership kind of started to come to fruition. So that's kind of what I've worked on in the last year. But I wanted to give you guys some, I don't know if I want to call it advice, but just some skills that I've really found beneficial in my role as a data analyst. And some skills, maybe if you're interested in a data role or even just like any kind of technical coding role, I think these skills could be useful anyways. So just kind of walk through these quickly and then we can open it up for any questions. But the biggest thing that I found since I got into Ford and into the space is it's such a big company. There's so many people who are just so well versed in different topics. And so being able to know when it's important to network and kind of reach out to a subject matter expert to learn about a new thing that maybe you need to maybe a new skill you need to learn in your job or a new domain that you need to understand. Networking is so important, and that was something that really, really helped me once I was, more willing to reach out to people and say, "Hey, can we just chat for 30 minutes about something that they're probably really passionate about?" To be honest, if they're an expert in something, they're probably really passionate. So that's been the biggest thing, especially as an analyst. It's important to be able to understand the data that you're working with and things like that. So networking is so important. I would also say uh, data is kind of everywhere. Like I know when I was in school, data was, would come in a very clean file. All your data would be in one file. It was great. And then when you get to the workplace and people have data everywhere, there's just so much data, but you have to know how to clean it and how to combine it together to get insights. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, that's kind of I feel like that's a really important skill to how to be able to take different data sources, bring them together, and kind of leading into my next thing, tell a story. So data storytelling is something that I feel like I didn't get to practice much in school, but especially working, I'm not in the analytics department, I'm in IT. Um, I think that being able to look at numbers and tell other people who maybe aren't data experts or aren't overly technical like what you're seeing and tell the story of what those metrics show. I think that's such an important skill, and that's something I actually do really, really frequently in my job. So being able to not only crunch the numbers and do the coding and clean things up, but actually be able to effectively tell people what you found and why it might be important to them and why they should care. I think that's such an important skill. So definitely a good thing. And then finally, I think the biggest thing for me has been just kind of knowing how to produce automated and or repeatable analysis um, as an employee. Like if you're doing something and you can give your team something they can use over and over to maybe answer the same question. Maybe the same question has to get answered every year around the time where they're developing objectives for the next year or something. And it's really, you're a really valuable asset to the company if you can provide them stuff that you can that they can use again, and that they can kind of take, it's more of like a resource. So I think that that's been really important, and something I've tried to prioritize in my current role is making sure that if I am doing analysis, someone comes to me and says, hey, like, we really, need some insights about this, can you help us answer these questions with data? That whatever, whenever I do that, I don't just give them the answer, but I give them something they can use again, to help answer that question in the future. So yeah, that's kind of my spiel. I don't know if anyone has questions for either me or Klisa about our roles or about the FCG program, whatever you guys want.
Yeah, so that was amazing. Thank you both very much. I actually have a question. Whilst we're waiting for all of our lovely viewers to type in their questions,
Okay.
one that I often find surprises a lot of people like our hackers when they're sort of looking at jobs and people's careers is with somewhere like Ford. I think often people think that they need to be an absolute petrol head, like they need to be obsessed with cars to be able to work at somewhere like that. But often that's not actually the case. That you're going for the tech, you're going for that. So I don't know if you could just speak about the fact that like you don't need to be obsessed with cars to work in an automotive industry. That you do get to focus on sort of the tech and that if that's what you're interested in.
Definitely. I guess I can kick it off a little bit. I didn't mention anything about cars in my presentation. A lot of stuff that I do maybe like impacts the car. A lot of our cars, have cloud components to them at this point, but I don't, honestly, I don't work much with it. I've, even before I came to Ford, I worked at another automotive. I interned at another automotive company, and like, absolutely, I didn't work with the car there either. So, while it's cool to be, kind of part of the bigger picture,
Mhm.
it's not necessarily required, even in your daily job, to even be like close to the car or working with the car. If you just want to be part of a really cool technology initiative, then there's definitely opportunity for that at Ford too.
No, I definitely agree with you, Kendall. Me too, actually. I mostly just because within my first rotation, like I mentioned, my team is a more of a services team, so we are there for the product teams or the product group, product line teams, to assist and help them with their product, with the work, but I'm not necessarily in a product delivery team. Now, like I mentioned, this Ford College Graduate Program and even the internship program, which I can also, I didn't really mention that I interned at Ford in 2019 within IT also. So when I was mostly more of in a product delivery team. I work with the design and build team within IT, and I worked on a software. What I created was it was mostly I was a product designer, and I created different reports within the software that I was learning, and just to be able to that the internship in itself is 10 to 12 weeks, and we say 10 to 12 weeks because it depends on your start and end date, usually in the summer, but it's a really great opportunity if you want to get an experience or a glimpse. And I think that was a really big factor of what made me want to join Ford and be able to continue and start my professional journey at Ford Motor Company because of the internship. Because throughout the process of the interview until I went and joined the internship program, there I would read and do my research like every other student that's in college, and just you also want to be able to find a company that suits um, with the culture that you're looking for also. And so being able to see how employees interacted with one another, because my internship, even though we started as in September of 2020 because of COVID, we started virtually, and it's been a great experience. And my internship was in person, and I kind of had a glimpse, like I said, of what I really wanted my future to look like. And I knew I belonged with a Ford family, and I truly mean it, because just of the endless opportunities. We also, within the program, or even I have seen a few of my team members, they're interested in something that another team within our organization is working on. And if you express an interest, everyone is willing to include you in the meetings. You're able to shadow them. So it all depends on how much you make, uh, uh, how much of how much you want to take out of it, how much you want to take out of an opportunity that's given to you. um, and kind of took this question a little bit more, but like I said, it really, you don't have to be so involved within cars. In fact, I've always liked cars. I always saw something within cars that interested me, and but I wasn't, even if you of course, now that I'm part of the Ford Motor Company, and the more that I've been here, you hear about it. I read the news, and of course, I want to know what's going on in the company that I work for, but not necessarily it is direct. Let's say me working with. It all depends on your position, and it's a big company, right? So there's a lot of opportunities in different areas that it's up to you to decide what areas you want to be more involved in, and there's definitely a room for you to learn a lot.
Yeah. Echoing that a little bit, I guess even with the FCG program, like there's, if you want to try a rotation that's maybe really close to the car, you're in product development, you're on the forefront of developing that vehicle, then you can do that and you can say, okay, maybe I want to try something that's maybe more of a service oriented thing that's internal to the team, into the company. And you can definitely, there's a lot of flexibility within the company in general, but especially within the FCG program to do that and to try different things out.
Mhm.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. It's looked like we've got some shy viewers today, so I think we will wrap up there. But before we go, for those of you that are taking part in Hack Around the World this weekend, I thought it would be a great chance to remind you that we have our best lifestyle improvement hack for drivers prize category this weekend, powered by Ford, of course. So if your hack this weekend is going to do anything to improve a driver's lifestyle, make sure that you're entering that category for a chance to win $100 credit for the Ford store. So if your MLH swag isn't enough, enter this prize category. You can get some lovely Ford swag as well. So definitely have a look at that this weekend. And thank you again to Klisa and Kendall. That was so interesting to sit and listen to. And yeah, brilliant time. So thank you both for coming, and thank you to everyone for watching. See you all
Thank
later. Bye.
Thank
thank you so
you.
much. Bye.